The Inns of Court are one of the most traditional aspects of a career at the bar. They are different from chambers, they are different from sets, they have nothing to do really with your future career, so naturally their role is somewhat confusing. So I wanted in this recording just to clarify what they are and the role that they will play in your career as a barrister. So the Inns of Court are essentially four ancient institutions that have always played an important role in the professional and educational lives of barristers. There are four, they are these four, and only these four, the Middle Temple, Gray's Inn, Lincoln's Inn and the Inner Temple. And you have to join one in order to be a barrister. You have to join one 12 weeks before you start your bar course, and you join one for life, and you don't switch between them. That's the one that you join for the rest of your career. So the way that they will play the biggest role for you in the next few years whilst you're on your undergraduate degree and then on the bar course is really twofold. So firstly, they are major providers of scholarships. For the GDL and for the bar course. So if you are interested in doing the bar course, it's really worth having a look into those. I talk a bit more about this in the recording called Funding Your Bar Course Year. Between them, they have over £5 million worth of funding, so it's really worth having a look at if possible. And the other way is through some of the educational opportunities that they offer. So where the inn that you go to won't really have an impact on your career at all. However, they differ slightly in some of the opportunities that are available in terms of educational activities that they provide, different schemes, that sort of thing. So it's worth having a look at those and seeing which ones you're most interested in. Sort of in that educational limb, on the bar course, in addition to doing your 12 exams, you will also have to complete 12 qualifying sessions in order to pass the course. And qualifying sessions are not done with your bar course provider, they are done with the Inns of Court. So it's sort of a hangover from the times where you had to attend dinners and social events in order to be accepted to the bar. Now they have to have an educational component to them, so it could be a talk, could be a workshop, a lecture, a discussion, that sort of thing. And you have to attend 12 of those within your Inn of Court in order to pass the bar course over the course of that year. So to get some more information on the Inns of Court, Chambers Student is a really good website to have a look at. They sort of have quite a good summary of some of the different interesting points about each of the Inns of Court. In addition, you can visit them if you're based in London. However, there's no particular need to if it's not easy for you to do. Most of the inns now have online events that you can attend if you're not based in London. And they will also hold events on circuit throughout the year as well. So the need to come down to London is increasingly limited. But yeah, so this Chamber Student is a good resource for Inns of Court information. So I often get asked, how do you choose which Inn of Court to join? And the short answer is it doesn't really matter. As I mentioned before, the Inn of Court that you join won't have a massive impact on your career. It's not like that they have different inns for different practice areas, or that there's one inn which is more prestigious, or there's one inn where the best barristers go, or anything like that. There's a whole mix of barristers in every single inn, so that's not something you need to worry about. However, there are some things you can think about which might help influence your decision. So some of you may or may not be familiar with this rhyme, which is on the screen now. I have been told that it is not very useful anymore, if it ever was, of course. But if you come along it, of course, these are old-fashioned stereotypes that are not accurate anymore. So don't worry about this, and certainly don't make your decision based on this rhyme or any other similar analogy, which is equally not useful. Some of the things that you might consider. So I think the most important thing that I would advise is to select your inn based based on the scholarship application process. As I mentioned, the Inns are massive providers of scholarships, and they do help a lot of students fund the bar course. So it's definitely worth applying, even if you don't really think you've got a strong application. You never know. And so what I would recommend is that you have a look at each Inn's application process, have a look at their application form and their selection process, and see which one allows you to put your best foot forward. So see if the application questions suit you, if it's extensive, if it's short, if it's focused on academics or on extracurriculars, if they interview everybody or just a handful, and if you think you'd be better in paper or in person, that sort of thing. So I would definitely sort of have that as my number one thing to consider. However, in addition to that, you can have a look at where your friends might be going, any particular contacts you might have that you would like to see at the Social Inns events, and also the other opportunities that they provide, the educational opportunities, mooting, mentoring, marshalling schemes, that sort of thing. They all provide quite a lot in this regards, but you might find one more attractive than the others. In addition to that, it's completely legitimate to choose an inn based on the history or the previous members or the links they have to the arts or the food that they serve. As I mentioned, it's not going to have a massive impact on your career. So if you've got a particularly good feeling about somewhere that you think is a good match for you for whatever reason, then that's a completely legitimate reason to apply there. Okay, so that is a brief overview of what the Inns of Court are. Hopefully that clarified things somewhat for you. If you have any other questions, please just head over to the Q&A booth session and I will help you out as much as I can. But thanks very much for listening.